catch up on it in sleep today. Oh,
3 hours.
you're a brand new man.
I tried. My phone wouldn't stop ringing.
Throw it in the other room. You need to finally answer your phone.
And I wouldn't answer it if it wasn't stuff I wanted to deal with. I'd deal with it later, so deal with it now.
That one to like kind of, you just pull it straight.
It went pretty good. It didn't have a great turnout, but it went real good. We had about, I think 40 some hooks on tractors and 70 some on lawnmowers. And beautiful day for it.
Does the lawnmower seem to hold true more so than
Leave
tractor?
this, you probably ought to leave that.
There's more lawnmowers. It was still not
In case somebody shows
as
up.
good of a turnout as we would have liked, but we're the only ones left doing it. So a lot of people aren't keeping their machines going for the year and stuff like that. It used to be, there were 8 or 10 pulls within the state, and people went around and did them.
Just pulling it out so they can see
There's
it.
a guy that plays golf at the Quentin named David Balderson.
Uh-huh.
There you go, that's good.
I think his uncle was Winston and played baseball with Dad.
Uh-huh.
Maybe his great uncle. But he said he used to race long.
Really?
He said 70 miles an hour on a lawnmower is dangerous.
Jimmy, my cousin raced him. He was the national champion several years. And it was just, I never went up there unless I had an hour to spend with him because he wanted to show you. He'd crank up that lawnmower, it's like a V6 with no mufflers on it. And it would run between 75 and 80 miles an hour. And he had 3 of them for different classes. And he tried to stop racing 10 years ago, and his wife wouldn't let him. She loved it.
But it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I watched it.
Supposed to have good insurance on
But it is dangerous. And I've seen people wreck those things. And I saw a girl break her leg one day doing that stuff.
it. Keep making it.
But
You
people
know, it
love
looks
it.
like that they would introduce some rules that
Saying,
they had to wear
I just thought it
those
was funny.
stuff like motocross,
Well, they do.
motorcycle.
I think a lot of them do.
Those
When you
chest protectors and
yeah,
shin guards and racing boots.
they do. And actually, in the open classes of lawnmowers, they have to wear fireproof suits and helmets and stuff. Because there's no speed limit. Even though they're pulling that sled, there's no speed limit to it. And so they can use, and they get crazy. I've seen them hit the guardrails and stuff like that. They just can't hold them. But Jimmy started lawnmower pulling. And the first time he did it, he burned the clutch out. It was so much power. And he never tried to pull it again. After that, he said, I better go ahead and race them. And they started building racing lawnmowers. But remember when they first started, I remember when they first started, they were just using regular lawnmowers
Yeah.
out in fields.
Yeah. But they didn't have any safety gear or
Nothing
anything
at all.
on.
No, they just added an extension on the deck so it wouldn't turn over or something like that. It was great. But it is in lawnmowers, you have the youth classes where kids can do it, and that's what makes it. It's more of a family event. And you get down there because like a 3-year-old can sit on it in the youth classes, and the parent walks beside them, and the kids like it, and they get a trophy and stuff like that. So that's what makes it appealing. It's a family event.
The clock back has says 7, so,
Yeah, it's 6:59, so I think we're good.
okay.
Y'all ready?
All right, at this time I'd like to call the meeting back to order and welcome everyone this afternoon. And we have 3 public hearings tonight, so Ms. Mothershead, if you want to get us started.
Sure, yes, I'm happy to. I will start and just tell you all that we're going to kind of run in the order that we had advertised. And so I'll start out by reading the public notice. In accordance with Section 15.2-2204 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, and pursuant to Sections 15.2-2507 and 15.2-2310 of the Code of Virginia, the Richmond County Board of Supervisors hereby gives notice that a public hearing will be held starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, September 12th, 2024, in the Richmond County Public Meeting Room, 101 Court Circle, Warsaw, Virginia, to receive public comment on the following: And our first public hearing session will be on an amendment to the FY25 budget in the amount of $500,000, which is funds received from the Commonwealth of Virginia for distribution to Menoken Foundation. And so I'm happy to say that Menoken has qualified for another grant in the amount of $500,000. And in order to get that grant, they have to have a pass-through. And so in the past, Richmond County has been the pass-through avenue for them. And so they've asked us to facilitate that yet again. And we're happy to be able to do that for them. So last month, you all saw in your binder the memorandum of understanding, and you all agreed to move forward with that. And so this month, with our public hearing, what we need to do is simply make that budget amendment. And I have a resolution, of which you all don't have in front of you, but I think it's here on the screen. If I can get to it, yep. So I have a resolution appropriating $500,000 into the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. Whereas Richmond County received $500,000 of funding from the Commonwealth of Virginia for distribution to Menoken Foundation. And therefore be it resolved by the Richmond County Board of Supervisors that after required advertisement pursuant to Code Section 15.2-2204, the Commonwealth of Virginia funds in the amount of $500,000 are hereby appropriated to the FY25 budget for distribution by the county to Menoken Foundation.
All right, any questions from the board? Do we have anybody that signed up to speak?
I'm sorry. Connie Rosemont. Connie Rosemont is signed up for public comment.
Okay, that's fine. Ms.
Sorry, I
Rosemont?
forgot I had it.
Speak over here. So I'm gonna be, I don't know if you need me, Mike.
Just a little button.
The little button on the bottom.
There you go.
There you
Okay.
go.
There you go.
I'm Connie Rosemont. I'm the acting director of the Menoken Foundation, and I just wanted to come and introduce myself. Our office manager, Jamaica Campbell, is also here. We're super grateful to Richmond County for being here, and I want to thank you guys for your volunteer service for making this such a great place to live. I wanted to invite all of you to the Menoken Foundation if you ever want to know more, and to let you know that this $500,000 is from the state, and Menoken is a public property with 500 acres, and we have a kayak launches for the public, and we have the ruin of a house of a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and that $500,000 is going to go towards stabilizing the ruin and giving us a better tour opportunity for the coming 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and improved walkways and things on site. So really, we're so grateful for the state's investment in this, which is an asset that belongs to Richmond County and all of the people here. So thank you, for your support, and come on over. And if there's anything, if you ever have questions about what we're doing, we'd just love to tell you more.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we adopt the resolution.
Okay. If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. This,
Okay. Thank you.
you want to sign it before you forget it.
Oh, no. You think I forget? There's me too good.
All right,
All right.
moving right along.
Alrighty, so yes, moving on to our next topic, the next thing that we will discuss is an application from Lamar R. Martin et al. For a special exception permit in order to allow for the operation of the auction market on tax map number 31-25A off of the Hook Road. And I'd like to just kind of go over the staff recommendation that I have in the packet to just give you guys in the audience kind of a background. So Lamar Martin owns a certain parcel of land at 766 Valley Neck Road together with others, containing approximately 20.274 acres. Northern Neck Produce Auction has requested a special exception allowance for the operation of an auction market to operate approximately 3 days per week. This auction market will offer plants, fruits, vegetables, farm machinery, and other miscellaneous handmade items. The parcel of real estate is currently zoned agricultural. Auction markets are listed as a special exception use in an A1 district, including livestock, produce, and other agricultural products. Currently, the improvements on the subject property include a home with various accessory structures. The auction market would be built on the property with an entrance off of the Hook Road. An auction conducted in the state of Virginia must employ a licensed auctioneer and follow provisions set forth in Virginia Code Sections 54.1-600 through 607. In addition, of course, strict rules for the buyer and seller will be enforced, as they are doing now. Northern Neck Produce Auction is now operating in a building off of Route 3. And so then that activity would leave that building and go to the new if approved. Parking for the auction activities has been discussed and will be included as part of the plans for the market building. I do think that we need to let Mr. Thomas just kind of speak out. Mr. Thomas is looking to recuse himself of conversation in this, and so he would like me to include in the minutes any email correspondence between myself and the county attorney. So we will add that in the minutes. And this is based off of advice from our county attorney. Sorry, I should have done that before I started reading, but there's been no conversation. So we're good. Okay.
I was wondering.
You were wondering when I'd get to that, right?
We might need to.
I had it highlighted on my sheet, but highlight didn't catch my eye. All right, so moving back to my staff recommendation, I do want to let you all know that in the conversations that we've had thus far about the auction market, we have talked about the auction market when it's built being considered a farm building or structure, and it meets our definition for a farm building. However, we have also talked about how if there is a restaurant, if a restaurant is operated on site, then of course that's not going to meet our farm model for the Uniform Statewide Building Code. And so after review of the contract application, staff does recommend granting special exception based on the following. This allows for continuance in encouraging agriculture farming operations in Richmond County. The special exception request will allow Northern Neck Produce Auction to operate an auction market that will benefit local growers, producers, by giving them an avenue to sell their goods. In turn, it will make bulk fresh goods available to the public and to local restaurants. Northern Neck Produce Auction agrees that all the proper permits, state and local, will be obtained for the operation of the auction market. This includes building permits, land disturbance permits, drain field permits, and any that's necessary. Northern Neck Produce Auction also agrees that the special exception issued will be conditional for the operation of the auction market only on the subject property noted and in the area that we've discussed. Any additional operations at this location or at another location in the future will need to come back before the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors for approval. All adjoining property owners have been mailed a notice. The Planning Commission did recommend this unanimously. And I would like to share with you all some of the, let's see. This, of course, is the flyer for Northern Neck Produce Auction. It's got the seller rules listed here, also buyer rules, and then dates of operation. This is the area, just from our GIS. This is Folly Neck Road and the Hook Road, to just kind of show the lot that we're discussing. And if you can see my cursor here on the screen, the auction market would be somewhere in this area off of the Hook Road. This is a sketch of what is proposed to be built, which I'm sure that Lamar or some of the others would help describe kind of. I think this is going to be just a very open area. This area right here is going to be for storage, so a dry storage area. There's a couple of offices and a couple of restrooms that we see there. And let's see. So I will be quiet unless you all have more questions for me. Lamar and his team is here tonight and certainly is willing to answer any questions that you all may have. I do have some questions from some citizens that I would like to ask when we get to that point, unless you want me to do that now.
Why don't you go on and do the ones you've got written down
Okay,
right now?
because this may give
Start
some
with.
information too. Okay, so Lamar, or which one of you all want to take the mic? You can, okay. If you'd like to come up, just so everyone can hear you. So I do have some just public concerns that have been given to me that I promised to ask. The first being overflow parking. I know that you all have planned for some parking area. If you have a large auction, lots of attendees, we just want to make sure that, I guess there'll be cut grass area or somewhere for folks to park outside of your actual parking area.
Well, we never really had that problem in the area we have. It is smaller than what we got now. Where the proposed area is actually could be a 5-acre field that is going to be cut grass, more or less.
Okay.
That would, so there would be no overflow parking on the highway or anything like that.
So I think that was the
I
concern.
think we got plenty of room for parking.
Okay, so you would not intend to have like parking along the side of the Hook Road or
No.
anything to impede traffic? Okay. Next question is refrigeration. Will you have any refrigeration in the building? Like, would you have a need for any type of like generator or diesel engine
No.
that would constantly run?
No, there's not going to be any running motor all the time. The only thing that would be an air compressor, probably running before the sale starts or before the auction starts, and that would be the only time. And that might be like half an hour.
Okay, but nothing to run constantly all day, every day?
No.
Okay. Of course, we've talked about commercial kitchen before. There's a concern about commercial kitchen and just understanding that, I guess, if a commercial kitchen is put in, it kind of fits you all in a different box of inspections with the state and things of that sort. So I guess just for now, if you could tell us what.
As of now, there is absolutely no plan for a kitchen.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't see that happening because it's like, we've been doing this is our third season.
Yeah.
Third season, and we're there from maybe the sale starts at 3 o'clock and it's usually over at the latest at 6 o'clock. So I mean, that's the longest sales we have, so, and a lot of the sales are not more than an hour and a half, so there's really no need for a kitchen.
Okay. Next thing is a loading dock. Will you have any type of loading dock at this site similar to
Well,
what you have now?
The plan is the building's going to be raised, so trucks can back up right to it's going to be like a loading dock,
Okay,
but it's not going to be, for the time being, not outside of the building.
okay,
But it's certainly, well, when you saw that picture where the open area was,
Mhm.
that is all that open space from there is, of the outside of the building is all going to be open where trucks can back up to that, and that's going to be all concrete floor, raised more or less truck bed height, so where
Okay.
they can load and unload.
so all of this through here will just be like a pole barn style that will be open air
Yeah.
space? Okay,
Basically, what the plan was to make it 12 foot high, and then we'd have crow's nests on the post, which is just to make it look somewhat decent, and it's going to be closed like 2 foot down.
okay, and then the last thing is, since this is considered a farm structure, just for the public to understand as well, through the building office, we will permit it, but it will be farm exempt. Therefore, there will not be regular inspections of the building inspector. What we've done in the past with things like this is basically we consider it an agritourism, which you're going to have like an agritourism or agribusiness opportunity there for folks to come and see the farm auction and, you know, see it take place. So I guess from staff's perspective, for your protection as well as the citizens' protection, we would most likely recommend the notice that goes along with the agritourism and agribusiness. And all of that's spelled out in the state code. I can get you guys copies of that. A lot of other places, I think, have that up. And it basically tells folks that they are assuming the risk of participating in the agritourism activity. And that's, you know, I think something that we should perhaps, if the board agrees, we should perhaps require. And that's all I have. So hopefully that information helps some of you guys understand sort of what's being proposed and the plans therefore.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I just have a couple. Will there be any smoke detectors in there?
Well, I mean, that we can put them in.
Okay.
There was, at the time, because it's an open place like it is, and it's more or less metal and concrete,
Right.
but there is going to be an office space that would not be, but we certainly can install
I mean, I just didn't know if being that the
And
public's gonna be in
we-
there.
We do,
Okay,
and we certainly have the fire extinguishers too.
Okay.
like that, For safety reasons.
and your well, what will make the well work that's out of the yard?
That's an air pump.
Okay, is that something you'll, like when you say it'll run for a half hour?
Well,
That
the air
will fill
compressor,
fill the
yeah.
tank
Fills
to
the tank
use
with
the
air
toilets
pressure.
later?
Yeah.
That what it'll do, okay.
Mr. Martin, you've got bathrooms over here. Are they gonna be porta-johns or are they gonna be regular bathrooms?
They're going to be your bathrooms.
Okay.
It says conventional sewer.
Oh, I didn't,
Yeah, we have,
Yeah.
soil
I
work's
can't
been
read
done
that
for
far.
the sewer, but it's nothing, we don't have the permit.
thank you.
JR, do you have anything? What is your average attendance?
It's a good question.
Or shot in the dark, I don't want to hold you that don't
We
need.
hardly ever have more than 20 vehicles, but maybe on special days, occasionally we have, I don't know. But I would say maybe 10 to 15 of the regular buyers, and then the public sometimes comes in too. There's going to be a little bit more.
That's close, that's fine, thank you. All right, if nobody else has any questions, we'll open the public comment period. You can have a seat if you like. Okay, I got you. Mr. Ramsey?
I'm Ed Ramsey and I live in Sharps. And I'm just one of those people who goes to the auction as any afternoon that I'm not doing anything because I love to watch. And it has been a great plus, I think, for the county. And every time I'm there, I meet somebody who's there for the first time. And they basically come for, so I just think that it's a very positive thing for Richmond County. I think the Mennonites and the Amish have been very positive for Richmond County and for our economy. And I think we should be thankful that we have them here and hope that everything can go, that they can have this auction house on their own, because I think any businessman, I know my wife was in business for 25 years in Sycamore Square in Midlothian. The first 4.5 years, she rented a building in the shopping center. When she finally decided she was going to be a success, she didn't want to pay the other man for her money, so she bought the building across the street that went up for sale. and was there for 25 years. And so it's normal, I think, for any business to want to own their own facilities and not have to pay rent to a landlord.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hayes?
I was just going to speak if there was a lot of opposition that Mr. Ramsey did very well here. I'm very much for the auction house. I attend to sometimes, and I live off Farnham Creek Road, so I'm very much for it.
Thank you. Is it Sokol?
Linda?
Yes, I'm here to say that I'm for it very much. I live on Falling Neck Road, so it's right there around the corner for me, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity for them to have it and for Richmond County itself.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Potter?
I also live on Father Nick Road, and I know all these people. I've been to that auction route 3 many times, and they've done so much for this community. I'm very thankful and very proud to have them with us. I used to have to go to Montrose to get crunched vegetables. Now they're right around the corner, and I love it, and I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Berkshire?
Good evening, sir. I think the county administrator got everything pretty well covered, but one thing that's not been addressed that is a problem through there and a concern is the signage. That's a bad intersection anyway. They've had 2 major accidents there. You know, where are they going to put the signs for the produce stand? And a lot of people don't think about this, but the bigger trucks, the tow trucks that we run, you know, the signs get blocked, you can't see. And that is a very, I mean, just a couple nights ago, I went down there and picked up a car, come out, and had a problem getting out there, almost got hit because of how, you know, you can't see with curves and the dips. So that's one of my concerns. I think, you know, the county administrator ought to look at the signage of where they put that block and everything. You know, especially, I mean, there's regulations and everything, but, you know, in this special exemption, I think that ought to be addressed. As far as anything else, I have, you know, no problem. I'm not down there, don't see it. I think it's a good thing that they have their own stuff. So like I say, my concern is the safety. And some of these other roads, Calvary Baptist is one of them. There's so many signs. I mean, if you look at the county, there's more signs in 5 miles through there on Route 3 than there is the whole county put together. You know, and I mean, when you start driving a bigger truck, people laugh. In that car, that's one thing. But you get these bigger trucks and you got to edge out in that road, and like Sharps Road, that curve and stuff, that's really, you know, bad. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Mullins?
Jay Clifford Mullen, 8351 History Lane Highway, Walsall, Virginia. I think that this work that they're going to be doing is an opportunity for growth for the county, growth for our community, and growth for them. One of the things that I hadn't heard said here tonight was the location that they're at right now has been good for them, but I think one of the things that has pushed them or made them want to make the move was the mention of Calvary Church Road and that turn right there through Emerton. Route 3 is a safety issue for them. And nothing against the horses and buggies. They clip-clop by my house all the time, but for them on that road, it's too much of a chance. This being off the road, they're going to be able to have a lot of the flow of materials and stuff coming to their facility on the rural roads, and after they make the turn there onto Falling Neck, they'll be off of the main traveled Route 3. So safety, I think, is a very important thing for this. One of the things that Ms. Hope has, Mrs. Mother's Head has brought up here is about the question of a kitchen or any kind of other thing in here. We want to make sure that they understand, or I don't mean to say they, that y'all understand that if anything past the provision of this special exception is considered, it has to come back. I'm not trying to make it hard, but I don't want it to be something that we all approve this, give them the thumbs up, and then some changes are made, and later any kind of issues come up from the public on it. I personally worked with these guys, have done things with them, live right there with, with the families, and want it to be something for them to have that they can be proud of. The last thing, and this was something that was said to me by one of the residents of the area, that this is going to be considered an agricultural facility. I lived on a farm, I've worked on farms. Farms can be farms. And every farmer has a different way of taking care of their farm. Some of them keep the farm prim, proper, and perfect. Some take care of what needs to be taken care of to get in the gate, get to the machine shed, and get back out. The comment that was made to me about this was that though this is an agricultural facility, it is still a residential area in that you have homes around them, down the road, up the road from there, and that encourage them to maintain this in a way that is pleasing to the community around them, so that it's not something that people that live around want to hide their face when they drive by. But I encourage them in every way, and I encourage y'all to approve this, and I look forward to the opportunity of working with them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cliff. Turn around a minute. Is there anything we can do about putting the signage, putting words in it to make sure that the signage follows VDOT's standards?
Yeah, they'll have to get a sign permit from us anyway. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll deal with that then.
Okay.
So, I guess that would be kind of part of, the permits, building permits, and disturbing green field sign permits.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have to work with them on that.
Okay. All right, if there's nobody else that would like to speak, we'll close the public comment period. Yes.
I would just like to thank everybody that's here tonight for support. And I want to make one comment. It's not about the Amish or Mennonites, it's about the community. It's not just us, everybody's welcome to sell, buy, whatever they want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
So I live at 6196 Richmond Road in Warsaw, Virginia. And through the years, we watched people come and go in our communities. We watch people do stuff that they don't have permits to do. These people come before you today and ask for a permit and special exception to get things done. They're doing it the right way. There are people that have come in this community and they live here all their lives and go and they build a shed. They never asked for a permit. They put a berm behind my house, didn't have a permit. But I think these people do a lot more for our communities than, since they moved here, than the people that have lived here all their lives. We have people that are businesses, that come to this community, that live in this community, that never give back. These people give back constantly. I don't know the first one of them. Never met any of them. I've been in their stands, that's it. They give more back to our communities than some of these people that build in our community and apartments, sheds, do whatever. They don't give back, but these people do. I think they have the right to have their own building and provide what they need for the community, for all of us to go to and be a nice facility. And I just feel like we need to give them that opportunity. And with the restrictions too, that if they're going to expand, they have to come back and do the right thing and say, this is what we want to do. It shouldn't be, let's do it and then go get the permits after the fact, because that's not the way it works. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll close the public comment period. What's the pleasure of the board?
Can I ask, what was the intent with the restaurant part? Was that just, were we just noting that that was not an option, or was that originally part of the plan, or?
Well, no, it was never a part of their plan. It's just, it's clear in there's a fine line with calling it a farm. And so in order for it to be exempt in Clay Woolard's kind of building world, it has to meet that definition of being a farm use. But if you cross over the line and there's any kind of restaurant feature to it, any kind of like sit-down food service, he has to look at it totally different. And so Lamar and I and the guys, we talked about that at length, when I first met with them about the plan, and we just keep driving home that point to make sure people understand that, we're not allowing this to be built with no inspections, and then, just anything can take place under the cover.
That was the only concern I had, along with the liability part for the codes, but I understand that process, so.
Yeah,
To Mr. Mullins' comment, I think having it known that as long as it meets what we approve on the special exemption, and anything additional to that would have to come back to the board.
Right.
I'd like to make the motion to approve.
All right, would you
Let me touch on the signs.
add that statement about, add that signage?
So with the concern about the signage, I'll work with.
No, not that, the agritourism sign.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
you can explain that after.
Okay, so the agritourism notice, we'll get together with you guys and just make sure you have a printout of that, and it's as simple as just kind of posting that inside. And then as far as the sign, there was a concern about the signage. As usual, we'll work with you guys for that sign permit and talk about placement and things like that for the sign at Fowler Neck Road.
But there is only gonna be one sign.
Right.
And that's gonna be on the Hook Road.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what we're gonna apply a permit for anyway.
Okay, so there won't be a sign at Route 3 in Fowler Neck, I guess? No, okay.
No, I
But-
don't see a reason, cause unless you want one.
Well, they all know that they can come in and we'll sit down and talk about sizes of signs and where they can be placed anyway, because
We're gonna
we've
have
worked
a
with
map
them.
on our brochure, and most of our buyers come back year after year, and we already announced it that we're doing this tonight, and that we're gonna relocate, hopefully for the next season. So it might be a little confusing to begin with, but they'll find it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I got one more question. Wait, how about, can they sell concessions at the auction house?
Oh, yeah. Anything that's packaged foods.
Okay, all right.
Then.
But I think what you said, when you said no sit-down eating, is that, okay.
That would be like prepared sandwiches and things
Okay.
like that. Any packaged
All right.
food, VDACs and the state departments, they don't care.
Right, okay.
All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Good luck to y'all. Hope it works out for you.
Did you get Richard back? We gotta wait for Richard.
Huh?
We gotta wait for Richard to come back.
Yeah, you need to go get him. Huh?
Here it is. Yeah, yeah, right there.
No, I was just visiting.
My legs work still when I get up.
Lived there visiting with my old friend. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
Moving right
then
along.
we'll move on to our third public hearing of the night, and that is to receive public comment on an application from Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless for a special exception permit in order to allow for the construction of a wireless telecommunications facility on tax map number 5-50 Newland Road, Warsaw, Virginia. And so, let's see here. I will put this. This is the proposed site plan, so I'll leave that on the screen as I kind of give you a background on this. Tax map number 5-50 is owned by Dale Sanders and Robin Abercrombie, subject to a life estate of Patricia Sanders. The property is zoned A1, and a special exception application has been received to allow for a wireless telecommunications facility. Verizon Wireless has a goal of providing robust voice and data services to the areas along Newland Road and in the surrounding area. Staff does recommend granting the special exception based on the following. The special exception request will provide the much needed service in the Newland area and also fulfill a goal of Richmond County. As you all know, each year in the past we've done goals, and a wireless telecommunications tower has always been on our goal list for that part of the county, which is typically the part of the county where if you're talking to somebody and you go turn on Newland Road, you might as well go ahead and say goodbye because you're going to lose them. The application from Verizon Wireless follows the requirements of the Wireless Telecommunications Facility Ordinance for Richmond County, with the exception of height. Justification has been received for the required height of 250 feet, together with necessary lighting. I will note that other towers in the county are currently built at 144 feet, 300 feet, 280 feet, and 195 feet. So that 250 is definitely in line with what we have here. All adjoining property owners were mailed a notice of the special exception request, and the Planning Commission does recommend approval of the project at their August the 5th meeting. So we do have representatives with us tonight that can speak to the project and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. All righty?
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors and staff. For the record, my name is Lisa Murphy, and I'm here today on behalf of the applicant, Selco Partnership, which does business as Verizon Wireless. I have with me tonight Louis Silva, who's here to help answer any questions that you might have that I'm not able to answer. Thank you to Ms. Mothershead for her thorough presentation and for all of her work on this application. As was mentioned, Verizon Wireless is seeking a special exception permit in order to install and operate a 250-foot self-support lattice telecommunications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod. On your screen there is the site layout, and the site is on a just over 57 acre parcel that's zoned A1 agriculture general, and it's within a 10,000 square foot lease area. The proposed facility, as was mentioned, is critical to Verizon Wireless's goal of providing robust voice and data services, including wireless broadband along Newland Road and in the surrounding area, including the nearby residents and businesses in the inland village of Newland. The antennas operating on this facility will connect with other antennas along Kings Highway, State Route 3. As most of you know, and I'll go back through just a tiny bit of history, but when I first started doing this in the mid to late 90s, cell phones were a nicety. It was a nice to have, not a have to have. My, how things have changed drastically over the last 25 or so years. Just to give you an idea of the growth in wireless usage, in December of 2007, under 16% of people were wireless only at home, meaning they had a cell phone and no landline phone. If you fast forward to December of last year, it was 76% of adults lived in a house that just had a wireless phone and no landline, and that number was 87% for families with children. So younger and younger folks will never know what it's like to have a landline phone in their home. Today, in addition, 80% of all 911 calls are made from wireless phones. And we've got a situation now where network capacity is now outstripped the demand and the ability to provide the service. So you have folks like Louis and myself going back into communities and adding more wireless infrastructure. you also have a situation, and two things really accelerated this move, but the recession of 2008, people got rid of, they had to look at their budget for their family and said, I can't have a landline phone and a cell phone, so they ditched the landline phone. The next and the bigger reason for that jump was COVID. So many people had to be connected. We were forced to work at home. We were forced to go to school at home. And in some of our communities, that meant, children had to go park in the parking lot of the nearest business or the school or of the library just so they could get internet access to be able to do their homework. So really, again, as I said, it's really have gone from something that's a nice to have to now it's really essential to have good wireless service. And that's why we're here in front of you tonight. Like so many other wireless companies, Verizon Wireless looks first for existing antenna or existing structures to add their antennas. It's faster and it's cheaper. It would have been done by now. And as Ms. Mothers had pointed out at the Planning Commission, and she said it again tonight, having this infrastructure in Newland is something that you all have been focused on. The good news is it's expensive infrastructure and somebody else is paying for it. So that's the good news. It's not going to come out of your budget. So, and that is, I say that jokingly, but it is a big capital investment, and it is something that Verizon is happy to do in the community. The closest existing tower is about 3.5 miles away. Verizon's already on it, and there's really nothing else. And as Ms. Mothers had indicated, that's why our radio frequency engineer submitted his height justification letter. The existing sites are just too far away, and there's a large area to cover, which is why he's requested 250 feet instead of 199 feet or something smaller. And that is in line, as she indicated, with your existing towers in the county. One other thing I would point out there is something of a curb cut right at the edge of the property, but there will be a new VDOT compliant entrance on Newland Road. And it's on the northern property line, but it's on the Sanders property, yeah. So there will be a new gravel access road into the site that, as I said, will be VDOT compliant. When we talked about this a little bit before the meeting, but when any tower company or a wireless carrier has to find a site for a facility, it's really important that they find a site that's on a large property. This is 57 acres, and it's got tree coverage or foliage or something where you can, you can't hide a 250-foot tower, but you can find a location where it's buffered, it's away from homes, and it's something that's not going to be visually obtrusive. It's something that'll blend with the environment. And to Huey's credit, he did an excellent job finding a location where this can be buffered. As was mentioned, we meet the requirements of your zoning ordinance, with the exception of the request for the height waiver. In your packet, you should have some photographs from the balloon test that we did back in February, and those basically show you what I've described, and that is a well buffered site. As was mentioned, staff is recommending approval. Planning Commission has recommended approval, and we respectfully request that you approve the special exception application. I'm sorry for the extra noise there. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I've got Huey to answer questions as well.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, much needed.
Yeah, can you have it up tomorrow?
We get that question a lot too. I know that there'll be, if this is approved, Huey's next step is site plan, and he'll have that submitted, and they'll move as quickly as they can to try to get that done.
Lisa, do you mind touching on what we spoke about this afternoon about co-location of any type of emergency services, type of equipment that we may need if there's not a need immediately, but that we may need in the future, and what that process would look like?
Sure. So back in the 90s, early 2000s, a lot of jurisdictions would condition a tower on free space for all the counties, whatever equipment they had. That became problematic because it was taking up space that might have been available for other carriers, and it was creating uncertainty about, how long they had to hold the space, where it needed to be, that type of thing. So in 2018, when the General Assembly adopted the zoning for wireless communications infrastructure, it addressed small cell sites, but it also addressed, we call these microsites, or regular tower sites. And one of the things that they added, and this is section 15.2-2316.4:2, A, is that localities really can't condition the approval of the tower on the basis of free space for the locality or space being reserved for the locality. And what we did submit, and it's Exhibit O at the very end of the application packet, is Verizon Wireless's co-location policy. So the tower will be built for at least 6 users. There'll be plenty of space. Emergency communications equipment tends to be lower down than what the wireless folks would need. So there's plenty of room on the tower. It'll have plenty of capacity. It's just not the kind of thing that you can condition the approval on. Is that address your question?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? All right. I'll open the public comment. I don't have, Cliff? You can do it.
Jay Clifford Mullen, 8351 History Lane Highway, Warsaw, Virginia. I just wanted to comment on a few things that have been said and haven't been said. At the Planning Commission meeting, there was some public comments made and some questions were asked, and I just wanted to review these and make some comments on them. One of the things you see on this, whether you realize what you're looking at, is that where the arrow is right now, that's a utility line that comes by there. And the question was whether or not this tower was going to be interfering with utility lines and this sort of thing. And I assure the public and the council that I don't believe Verizon would be setting a tower in this location if they felt that that utility line was going to be some kind of an issue for it. The idea that you mentioned about the buffer, this is the thing too, to buffer a tower that's 250 feet tall is not something that can be done, but the question was asked was whether this was going to be something sitting on the side of the road that was going to be offensive. Go out of here, head towards Laws, what do you have? You got towers on the right, towers on the left and towers on the right. How offensive are they and how much buffer do they have? How much do we get used to them? I don't believe that these are going to be a problem. Construction. Question was asked, or concern was about traffic up through Newland and all through there. And I know what Verizon is going to do is they're going to have tractor trailers, dump trucks all day long, every day for the 6 to 8 months that they're building this tower. Oh no, that's right. They may have one day, I know personally from having a 300-foot tower planted right beside the plant where I work, that they had one day where they poured the footing for that tower. Yes, that was a day of concrete trucks in and out all day. That tower is going to be made of so many components, but when the shipment of those components come in, it's going to be a one-time shipment coming in. What they will do and what will happen for the community is that the drivers and Verizon and the contractors are going to do the best they can to not schedule this at 8 o'clock in the morning when the school buses are coming through, and during the noontime when people are traveling through, they're going to work with the community. I feel sure the traffic through this area is not going to be a problem. 250-foot tall tower. Jet planes fly over that area all the time, and will they hit that tower? People don't realize when a plane goes over your head, they all feel like you can reach up and touch it. First, FAA regulations regulate how low those planes can fly. 250 feet, I assure you, is not anywhere close to the ceiling limits that they have. And this is not something, this tower will have lights on it for day and night. The plane traffic through Newland, I don't think is that bad, but what traffic does go through, I don't believe the public has to worry about it being struck. Need, without a question. I think the Newland area, I drove up there the other week to do some things and looked at my phone and just waited till I got up closer to Montrose, then I made the calls. It's going to be something that's going to be helpful, not only for the people that live there, but for the people passing through, but for what? Safety, 911. To be able to have it so that if you need it, it's there. Joking aside, this is something that's going to be done by Verizon. The county's not going to be asked to foot the bill. But I guarantee you, Verizon's not doing this because they don't think that this is going to be some payback for them either. But we do appreciate, and I'm not trying to be offensive by saying that, we do appreciate that Verizon is considering this investment in our area. And we thank them very much for it. I encourage you to approve this.
Thank you, Cliff. If there's no one else like to speak, at this time we'll close the public comment period. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we go ahead and approve the construction of the tower for Newland.
Okay, thank you. If there's no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Cliff? Next to the bridge opening, this has got to be the biggest thing that ever happened.
When we get this started, I'll try to keep a constant update for you on it like I did on the bridge.
All right, does anybody else have anything to bring up?
I can't believe they got to do 250 feet as high altitude y'all is up there. I get nosebleed every time I go to Newton.
Yeah, well, you have to stay out there.
I do.
All right, Ms. Molleshead has one thing that she would like to bring up back from this morning.
Yeah, so this morning we talked about the adjustment to the PPTRA, and you guys voted on changing that PPTRA to 50% from 55%. But I do think that adopting this resolution to have for the minutes would be advantageous. So I'll read it over. Whereas June 13th of 2024, the Richmond County Board of Supervisors adopted the FY25 budget with the personal property tax relief percentage of 55%. Whereas at the time, the Board of Supervisors determined that with the unknown nature of vehicle valuation, they would review the PPTR percentage in the fall at the completion of the work done by the Commissioner of Revenue to consider actual value changes as opposed to only projections. Whereas after reviewing the valuations, the Board of Supervisors have determined that it is in the best interest to decrease the PPTR percentage to 50%, moving the amount of funds given as a credit to $1,115,265, providing adequate relief to the taxpayers of Richmond County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richmond County Board of Supervisors that the PPTR percentage of 50% be applied for tax year 2024 under the Virginia Code mandated system of applying the Personal Property Tax Relief Act, ultimately providing an additional $312,265 in relief to the taxpayers of Richmond County for tax year 2024.
We need a motion to approve the resolution as presented. All right, if there's no further comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. There you go.
Alrighty, thanks so much.
You have anything else?
That's all I have.
All right. Thank everybody for coming and staying with us tonight. At this time, we are adjourned.
Thank y'all. Good job, good job.
And there is a tower 400 feet tall.
Huh?
There's one 400 feet tall. The one in Haynesville that we put up years ago. Because I climbed it a few times. I put the antennas on it. It's 400 feet tall.
Is that the one behind the owls?
Yeah.
House?
Yeah.
Who owns that now?
Huh?
That thing has changed hands.
It's changed hands so many.
Joe Patton owned it.
Joe, and Joe's one who